Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And I guess I'm in stereo. Stereo. Let me put my headphone set on and see if I hear me. Stereo. Me. Okay. Here comes the sound to me. Stereo. Let's see. Testing. 1, 2. Yeah. Hello. Hey, Robin. Metho. George. Sounds fine. Excellent. Now, why? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear it in both. Do I hear it in both? I do. I think I do. Yes, I do. I hear it in both. Yeah, there we go. All right. Something people have been asking for. Nice. And who was it? Oh, that was great. One of the traders called in and, texted in and saved us. So that's a high five. Yeah, really. I remember the old high fives. What do we got going on here today? Let's see what we got. There is the dollar index. A little bounce there. Nothing major, of course. Someone's got to take a profit, right? I mean, look at that nice win the sell side has had right there. And when we look over on Chicago Quant, what is that? Oh, that's the S&P 500. Let's go to the dollar index right there. When we look at the dollar index again, you can see right there down below, right here. It's been in a weekly sell for a while. And just throughout that whole adventure there. And that's the daily. And let's put the weekly in there. And there's the weekly. It's going to show the same thing. Down she goes. Well, so we've been in both charting tools showing lots of weakness over time here. It's been saying, be long, you be wrong. And that's pretty much what it's been saying over and over and over again. All right. Let's see. Oh, there's Janos. Yo, Janos, look at the aftermath from tomorrow on gold. US the 500 and the yen. Oh, you mean look at it today or look at it tomorrow? I think, don't we have news out on Friday, right? Or should we just take a look at it? Okay. So in other words, you're saying look at the aftermath from tomorrow. Okay. So yesterday we saw gold. Yeah, gold slid into the sell. I was a tad surprised about that. I think it slid into a sell. Where is it at? Right there. Yeah, it slid into the sell. Yeah, it was a nice little slam. I guess that the moment they show interest rates rising, forget about it, as they would say in North Jersey or in New York City. Forget about it. It's done. To put a fork in it, you can eat it. And I'm having a sip of tea. But look at it today. It's trying to bounce back up again. But we're not seeing it in our math at the moment. Let's take a look at it over on J4X. The weekly hasn't been altered, though. You can see that. It's just a curve at this point. You see that right there. The curve. And I'm sure we're seeing the same exact thing on gold. Right there. And you see that same thing. What caught my eye is the contango in oil. So there's the weekly holding up the same exact way. It's at the high end of its range, of course, but it's still holding up just like the way Chicago Quant is. Let's take a look at the daily of this. But I'll tell you, the thing that's really caught my eye today is the contango in oil. What contango is it's where the back months are, the price of the back months compared to the front months. And in this case here, the back months are trading higher now, not lower. They've been trading lower. That's usually what the contango is all about. And then let's go over to the S&P 500. And there it is right there. And you can see that pressure on there the last 2 days. And you can see the break here. And then when we zip over to the weekly, though, again, same situation as we have here on Chicago Quant. Right there. So you see the same thing. Matter of fact, what's interesting is the daily is flirting. Look at it. It's up 133, 150. I mean, it's not a big number, but it's flirting along. It's trying to get through the plus side, which is interesting. And then what do we got here? Oh, the weekly. You see all this weekly action. It's curving and starting to turn up again from that the weakness that we were seeing, and is seeing. I guess you could say there's weakness there, and then all of a sudden the shifting gears. Now yen, I could have sworn that Canadian and Swiss closed in daily sells. In other words, they were stronger against the dollar. It seems like the Swiss is catching up, that's for sure. But let's take a look at the yen. Let's go over to the yen. And then, who was it we were talking with yesterday? That they were short euro, and we were seeing our weakness on it. And but I said by the end of the day they may knock it down, and they did. They knocked it down towards the lows of the day. There's the euro, but let's just go to the yen. There's the yen. Now yen, all right. Now yen is flirting. Yesterday they failed at getting into the buy, but today, even with it down against yesterday's close, it's looking very firm in here. Now this is the only thing we can look at really and say, is this really happening? In other words, are we going to get a little bounce? It looks like it's trying to tell us there's a bounce. You see the gas 5 echo is trying to tell us that there's a little bounce. It's even up at the time manifold at this point on the negative side. But this is all still a sell. I mean, this is a sell. And so this is just possible profit taking. In other words, you got positions on, they make money, you get out of them, take your profits, spend the money. That's the basic concept of it all. Not to trade, but to trade to make money. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. Now they're lifting this up, which was the scare of, let's go back over to it again. I guess you could say it's the scare of the gold. That is really the thing, is that they thought interest rates were rising. Now, when we take a look at it just a little bit deeper, we go into the actual bond trading itself. And there is the 30-year. You see, they knocked it down yesterday. That was all that panicky. But look at it. It's trying to turn up again. When this rises, interest rates are going down. That's what that means. This is the price of the bond. As the price becomes more expensive, it means interest rates are dropping. Okay? Because people are trying to buy the bond. And you can see here we're in a weekly buy now, going on a 4th week. And all we're doing is flirting with the manifold, just like we flirted there. Sometimes when you get that flirt where it bounces, in this case here, it busted through it, fell back down, and then bounced again. You got a nice little surge out of it over the 3-day period, and kicking it up. So if this thing starts to turn up, there's a good chance that we see another one of these hiccups, and then more sideways action up in here. Is that what you were thinking, Janos? And then I guess we have some type of inflation news that comes out on Friday, which, could ignite the buyers even more, in the sense of buy bonds and buy gold and sell dollars. PPI, exactly. Yeah, PPI, Producer Price Index. So, doesn't CPI come out on Thursdays? I thought they were like, CPI is right before PPI. But all I keep on hearing is, they're kind of looking at Friday. So that's usually, when they start saying this is what they're looking at, that's what they're looking at. It's, matter of fact, you can see here, we're upticking again in the bonds as we speak. Almost at the high of the day. What's it? 129.20 is the high. And it's trading right now at 129.18. So we're inching our way up even more now. So that's the action. They trade that in 30 seconds and 64. So they still trade it in fractions. Now from there we go over to, where were we at? Oh yes, take a look at the euro. As long as did I answer your question? I'm just double checking. If so, I will go on to the euro. And there is the euro right there. And you see we had we had that little push down. It's okay? Okay, good. And then that's the weekly. And then let's take a look at the daily. Should be a little red in there. No, okay. And so, let's see where we at. Go like this. There it is right there. We'll go with that one. You can see there, we can actually get rid of that at the moment because look at that. It's plus again. So as much as they pushed it down yesterday, it's still trying to lift again today. Boy, was that if there was ever a case for using options, like that trader that came in that was, made sense. They recognized, they saw the weakness. They also saw that the thing was trying to turn up and go to the highs of the day, covered as short. But if there's ever an example of using option spreads, binaries, there it is right there. It's like I said to them, don't be surprised if it does try to push down in the afternoon. And then by the end of the webinar, the product was at the highs of the day, from at the lows of the day. But sure enough, they did. That's why I said yesterday in the webinar that probably it's going to come again in the afternoon, and they did. They smacked it down. But now look at it there. As much as it's trying to get into the sell, and it looked like it was on the edges of the sell, it's battling its way back up into the buy again. So, the money is basically saying no, not going to sell you. And you can see here on the weekly, look at that weekly. It's been firm for 7 full weeks now. And same thing over here on J4X right there and right there. There we are. Same thing. Buy, 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 buy. It's saying basically that the buyers are stronger than the sellers. That's what it's telling you over and over and over again, confirming it. When you see these green bars, you see the green line above the dashed line, the odds are really, really high. I mean, 9 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. It's going up. That's what it's telling you. And then, and then what you see, and here's the perfect example on that too, with the way the math or an algorithmic really works, is that they never go up straight. They correct, they go up, they correct, they go up. And it's trying to do a little correcting in there now. But that's the norm. You can get into an uptrend, but the shorter trends inside of it are going to show the real flow of profit taking. Someone, money has it. It overbalances their portfolio. They liquidate down to the exact percentage again. And then as it rises again from buyers, they do the same thing again in the portfolio. And they liquidate up in here because it's overvalued to the overall currency portfolio. And then again and again and again. And that's usually the way. And when you see these big spikes like this on a daily basis, it tells you money is hot and heading in that direction. And it doesn't care. It's outdoing the sellers. In other words, buyers are greater than sellers at that situation. Just like here, where sellers were greater than buyers. They wanted to get out. They wanted out, and what did they do? They went down and made historical lows. And that's the way it works. And portfolios have to keep their balance. And what that means is that they if they have 30 products in their portfolio, they try to keep them at 2% of the portfolio, all of them. And if it goes running up to 3%, they liquidate it down to 2% again, so that they're in balance with their whole portfolio of 2%ers. And if it goes to 1.5%, they go in and buy it to balance it back up to the 2%. And that's the mechanics of funds, especially hedge funds in particular, but most funds and fund traders. That's the 101 in trading. It's keep your fund balanced, all your longs balanced relative to your shorts, and that means it's mechanical and flying blind, I guess you could say to some extent. But the choice of what you pick is scrutinized. It's not just a dartboard. It's scrutinized, so it's not flying blind, but keeping the portfolio itself balanced. They may let it go to 2.25% or something like that, but it gets up to 2.5% or so. They're going to be liquidating. They're going to sell calls. They're going to do something. They'll do something to sell to get some cash in from the win, because it can always end up going back down again. And if you had a profit, I used to say that all the time here. if you have a position on it and you're making money in it, and if you don't sell it when you're making money, the next time you're selling it is when you're losing money. Unless you're a fund, then you're buying it again. You're reaching and buying again. So, all right, little hedge fund 101. From there we go over to the cable. I saw a headline that said that they're preparing the troops in case of strikes. In other words, they'll do all the labor. So I guess that's what's going on there. And there's the GBP. It didn't flirt with the sell yesterday, which was a surprise since the euro was doing it. Let's go over and check it out. Check it out. What it is what it is. And there's cable right there. And now they're putting a little pressure on it. Right there. We could put a little red line in there. It's putting some pressure on it. It's underneath the zero line. But the weekly, again, looking very firm over 3, 6, over 7 solid weeks. Just lots of pressure there. Right there, lots of pressure on the upside. And same thing over here on J4X. Right there. You see that strength. Up, up, and away in my beautiful pairs trade. Lower interest rates. That's what it's screaming at us. Lower interest rates here in the States. All right, and then from there, probably you can see the Swiss making back basically from I guess it's the Credit Suisse situation. You can see that coming down hard and heavy. Look at that. Smash-o. Right at the top end of like a 3-year range now. We're back down to it finally. It was a real pounce. They really pounced on the Swiss. I guess and we've seen Saudi Arabia went in there yesterday. Saudi Arabian Finance Fund came in and drove the stock up from $2.60 up to $3.20. I mean, it's at historical lows. Also, that's kind of like a bankruptcy price. When you see a stock fall down into the 2.5, 3 area, money likes to come in thinking that there's a bounce. If they're not going out of business, then there's going to be a bounce. That's 101 hedge fund 101. Also, that's another game they like or that's another structure or rule or however you want to. I guess it'd be like a rule of some form. That would be their nature. That's their tendency to do that stuff. So we'll see what they do there. Well, they did at the Citibank. They stepped in. They took a hit from. They own Citibank. One of the investors, big investors in Saudi Arabia, owned Citibank in the United States in 2008. The stock fell from the $50, $60 area down to $2.50, and maybe even got down to $2, and stepped up and bought like twice the amount, and then the stock has gone back to about $6. It hasn't made it to to the highs, all-time highs of 67, or the post-split all-time host. Now the all-time high is $667. They took for every 10 shares every share. How did they do it? Reverse split? So for every 10 shares you own, now you only own 1 share. So they reverse split it. So in other words, if you had 1 million shares, now you only have 100,000 shares. If you had 10 million shares, now you only have 1 million shares. And so what it did is it increased the price of the stock itself to adjust for that, and makes it look like, ooh, Citibank's all-time old high I remember is $67, and wow, it was at $66. Oh boy, they've come all the way back. Like, no, the stock's all-time high now is $667. So it's like, oh, and it only went to $60. So yeah, it's basically it's tripled from the bottom, from $2 to $6. But when your all-time high is $67, you're still having a problem. Let's put it that way. Alrighty, so from there we jump over to the yen, which we already looked at with Janos, but let's take a deeper look now, deeper dive. And you can see there that the yen, just pressing down extreme lows. So we saw something yesterday was in the fives. Something was really pressing hard. I forget what product that was. And then you can see that's the weekly. And then the daily is right there. You see the daily has been rolling over too, ever since they cleaned up that explosion of U.S. interest rates. It's moving down, and it doesn't do it exactly as a straight line. It goes zing, 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 zing. It's saber tooth. And then right there, there's the yen. And as we said before, it's flirting with the weekly buy at the moment. It's trying to lift up, which is trying to tell us that interest rates in the States are possibly moving up. But as we look at it here, the price itself, the price action itself is lower than from yesterday. Made new high and is moving down. So today they're saying maybe that interest rate is not going to go back up again. It's going to be a wild dance, all this stuff, Wild dance. Wild and crazy dance. All right, from there, what do? What to do. Let's go and take a look at, let's see if we can find it here. What to do. I would say, let's go now to our laboratory and take a look at the Turkish lira. And there's the first shoe to drop. There is the dollar Turkish lira trading in the high 18s, mid 18s. And over here on Chicano, right there. You see it's up for a little bit. It's in a daily buy. Let's widen this thing. And just move it down a little bit. And there you can see here, it's in the buy and holding up fairly well, but you still have these wild days where this is not too bad actually. This is only like 20 points or so that's pretty cool. The high is there is what 72, the low is 61. I guess the uniqueness is the way they put these tails in highs and lows. See, ready to choose backup option. View? No, I am not. There we are. So, it's holding up firm. The weekly needs to turn up. Well, no, it doesn't actually. For the population, we'd hope the weekly would stay down and stay in the negative and get go lower, not higher, because they're obviously getting beat up pretty hard from that whole thing. So from there we go over to where do we go to? We go to right there. You can see there's the daily. But the weekly over here is interesting. It's still in the buy. It's still holding up. It's not letting go. It's just staying in a buy on the side chop at this point. From there we go to the better of the two products, and that is the Euro Turkish Lira. Right there. And there's the weekly there. And let's find it over here. Over here. Over there. The Yanks are coming. The Yanks are coming. All right, you can see that long. Kind of interesting is it's in the weekly buy, the Euro Turkish Lira combination. Same thing here. It's in that buy compared to dollar Turkish Lira. And there's no contango. Is there a contango? Yeah, there's a little contango now with the dollar. Usually it's been about 2+ points, but it has gotten to parity at late. Now it's just starting to move normal again. So 1960 on with that 1962 offers, 61's bid for, and then over on the I'll just show it to you again. The dollar Turkish lira, right there on J4X. You see it's 1864. So it's almost a full point now that it has lifted up in premium. It was discounted there for a while. Just shows you the pressure that poor country is going through constantly. And then this morning, I have an oil story I saw that's interesting to be talked about, and that is we talked about it yesterday, and then what I said yesterday came true today, and that is that the oil caps make no sense to me, and so now there's supposedly tankers, basically what do they call it, stacking up. In other words, they're just locked in right around Turkey. They're just sitting there. In other words, they're not delivering. So, in other words, it's $60 oil. Yeah, we'll put a cap on it. Are we going to deliver it to you? Nope. That's a $15 discount. Like, they're going to really want to just throw that money away. So that's what I said yesterday. Europe, you want oil? Drill for it. I'm sure you got somewhere under your ground somehow. Drill it. Take it. Use it. It doesn't hurt anybody. I don't know why they keep on thinking that it does. I just saw. I watch. I have a Japanese channel on all the time. I guess it's Nikkei, NKH or something like that. NHK, and it shows what's going on in Asian, and I keep that up on one of the screens, and I don't have the sound up, but it's up there. And they were saying something. When they did their weather report today, they said that they had an enormous cold snap 10 days earlier than normal when they expect it this time of the year. And they're talking about how they've been colder throughout the whole year, and it's on a 56-year average now that they've been the coldest they've been in 56 years. So all this global stuff these people do with the weather and energies, so forth, are not doing a thing. It has no effect. The sun runs 99.9% of all our weather on this planet. 99.9999999999999. That's how much. Not 99 point. It's 99.999999999. Controls our weather. The sun. Not drilling oil. You can pollute locally. There's no doubt about that. But it's got nothing to do with the planet. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting. The ships are kind of piling up now out of nowhere. They signed it yesterday, and today they're already seeing tankers just sitting there. They're not budging. They're not sailing off to deliver oil to whoever wants it. That's why I said yesterday, it's all fungible. It's all fungible. So in other words, if someone sells it on one side of the planet, to a great extent, it's going to be relatively, depending on the distance and cost of moving it, it's going to be pretty much the same as the other side of the planet. It's all over the place, From there, we slide over to the two stocks that match up to commodities, and that is we go to, where to go? We go to Canadian, which really, I didn't mean to step into it, but it just happened to be that story. And so there's Canadian. You can see it's trying to lift up on the weekly basis. And on a daily basis, you can see it there. It's doing it. And let's put it up on the screen over here. Earl. Right there. And there is, it's at 75.87. And the cap they put on is 660. So I don't think this thing's going to fall to 60. But I guess someone has it in their heads. They think it's going to bring it down to 60. So at this point, let's see. Then you can see the weekly. Look at the spike on the weekly. I mean, they were just smashing that thing. It's so rare to see it get smashed like that. Let's tighten it up. You'll be able to see. When's the last time we saw it get smashed like that? It's been a while, that's for sure. Let's go do this. We'll put a line in there. And let's scrunch it up. It hasn't been that low. I guess this is the closest right here. And then we kind of bounced. We were in a weekly sell from up in here all the way to here. Put us into a weekly buy for about 4 weeks and then rolled over again right here. We got that. And we went to the buy again and then into a sell here for a couple of weeks. Back into the buy. Now we're in the sell again. So maybe we're going to finish off the sell and, in other words, it's oversold maybe. We'll see. Check this out. This is the contango. So this is the March contract. Now that's trading at, you can see here, it's trading at 75.99 in the was it the January contract? But you can see there it's at 76.27. It actually has a premium. It was trading at $1.50 discount. Now it's trading at about a 25-cent premium. So people are saying over the next couple of months, oil wants to go more up than it does want to go down. So I guess maybe this might be a low or something like that. We'll see when it gets plus again and goes into a weekly buy. We'll see how the product, do they keep the contango, that type of thing. And then we go over to the yen again. No, to the South African rand. That's it, South African rand. There it is, right. No, it's not there at all. There it is, right there. Let's do this one. Get that straightened out. We're just going to throw gold in there. Say activate. And then we'll go over to there and put in the South African rand. ZAR. Oh, we didn't even look at Canadian. Let's do a quick look at Canadian. There's Canadian. So in other words, this is going up and oil is going down in price. That's usually the action. So we're seeing a couple days of sell with oil, and we're seeing a couple days of buy with the Canadian. And the weekly is starting to jump up. Hey, someone's saying basically they think oil is coming down. That's what they're saying. More money is saying it's coming down than going up. And you're seeing it in the Canadian currency itself. We'll see how long that holds on for. And then we go over to South African rand right there. And you can see there, let's put it up over here. Right there, 1731. Oh, they did not get rid of that president too. We talked about that yesterday a little bit, but I reconfirmed it again this morning. They chose to forget about whatever problem it is, or the $500,000 they found in his sofa. Just fell out of somebody's pocket. It's finders, keepers, losers, weepers, I guess. So then you can see here, this is the South African rand, still pressuring its way down, but not a lot since the news that came out that they thought they were going to remove the president. And you can see here it's still in that weekly sell right there. And then we go over to the oil market in the metals market right there. And you see gold trying to do its bounce up, but we're still in the sell. But the weekly is very firm. And we saw the same thing over here. Right there, same situation. Where it doesn't really want to back away. In other words, they're going to, that was from the fear of interest rates, that action right there. The fear of interest rates rising again. Now the bigger question is, I guess we have to wait till Friday to know the story of what the markets are going to think about that. And then we go like this. Let's see, what do we do here? We go with, let's see, we go from the gold and South African rand to the Mexican peso. Right there. Not right there. Right there. And we really think that this is trying to tell us, the Mexican peso is telling us that they think that Herschel Walker is going to lose. That's my interpretation. No one else is saying that. I'm just saying that. I think this was the interpretation that he was going to win. This is the interpretation that he's going to lose. I think that's what this is trying to tell us. We'll see. Today's the election. We will know. It's a close race, but we'll see. That's what it comes down to. And so it's kind of interesting to see the Mexican peso park itself on the bottom end of this 3-year range. It drifted underneath it and beat itself up pretty well. It was gaining against the dollar nicely, and then all of a sudden, these last couple of days, money is saying don't think Herschel's going to get in there. So it'll be a really twisted government. What else can we say about that? Let's check it out over on J4X right there. There it is. And you can see that right there. You can see it's trying to turn up, just like our work right here is turning up the same way. They're both trying to move up, up, and away. And then on the daily, right there, you see the same thing. The strength there the last couple of days. Actually, it's moving down a little bit at the moment, but that's the moment. We'll see how it goes. And this baby is only at 64. I mean, it has plenty of room to get crazy. They could get it up into the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. It's got, but it is kind of starting to top out in this area. It's kind of interesting. I think, the election will end and we'll see what this thing does, because that's the only thing I can figure out. That's the only influence that I would see that's acting on the Mexican peso at the moment. Let's see. What else can we say about any of this? I guess that's it. We're done with the currencies. So, let's just put the Aussie up there, because I like to look at the Aussie after the market closes tonight. And there it is. You can see the Aussie is in a sell for 2 days. But in that weekly buy now for almost 6 weeks now, since the 63 area, something like that. Where are we at now? We're in the 67, 68-ish area, that type of thing. Okay. There we go. And there's the S&Ps on a short-term tick basis. It's up just a little bit or just down a little bit at this point. And let's see. Now let's go over to, there was gold. We'll take a look at silver. There's silver. So we're looking same exact way. They freaked it out yesterday. Still also very firm right here. Very firm right there. And then over here, let's put it up, silver on the, there we are. And that's what it is right there. See that strength there. So, what else can we say about any of this? Well, silver is holding up fairly well. It got up into the higher 23s. We're really looking for a hit all the way up into the 24s by the end of the year. We've been mumbling this for months, so we're getting it, but it's not an exact explosion. It's just very firm, that's all. And there's a lot of work, to get that thing to really challenge all this stuff up in here into the 26s and 27s. That's a lot of work. Let's take a look on the weekly. Yeah, that's a lot of work. There's the 30s. It's a nice bounce. It's like boom, like that was. This is trying to develop into one like that. Maybe it'll come up to that's 26 and a half. Maybe if the interest rates really show that they're coming down again, maybe we'll see 26 and a half, which from 23 and a half high is only $2.50, so $3 basically. From there, we go over to copper. Right there. Copper's been really firm. They keep on talking about stopping this COVID zero policy thing they have in China. That could be very positive for the metals complex, where they could get it back up and going into the 4s again. There it is right there. You see it's battled its way up about literally almost a month ago up into the 390s, the low 390s. And now it's kind of hovering just a little bit underneath the 90 area. It's at the high is, what is that? That's 377. So it's got a lot more work. I don't understand that. How could that be 388? I'm sorry. Or is that 386? 386. So it's got a little bit more work to do. If they do drop that COVID policy, then they need herd immunity. That's what they refer to it as. And right now they don't have that because they've been locked down. So more people die that way. That's what we've learned over the last couple of years. I don't know if anybody reads scientific journals and like the New England Journal of Medicine and so forth, but herd immunity is necessary to stop these things. Not lockdowns. All right. I mean, if you're really ill, yes, you lock someone down because they may die of other complications. But overall, no, it's the flu. It's a very aggressive flu. That's what it is. Enormously aggressive. Okay, from there, I know yesterday we definitely looked at platinum. So we'll do a quick peek to see if there's any craziness going on. Nah, still just a little weak for the last 2 days. But still in the weekly buy, but it's challenging the manifold there. All right, that completes our metals. If anybody has anything to ask or see or go back to, we will do it. From there, we jump over to, there's the front month oil. We looked at it already, and we did see the March contract, but you can see the pressure is still on this product, and we're still falling away on the weekly. So, be long, you be wrong. And then let's jump over to Brent. And there's Brent, 81. We saw that thing in the 88s. It's dropped over $7 now. So signing that $60 thing with Russia, I guess it's trying to do something right. Like it's trying to get the prices down. We'll see how that plays out. And then we go to the daily of that. And there's the daily. You can see it's doing the same thing, trying to challenge some lows there. We're doing the same thing right here. We're trying to challenge that low at the moment. And then obviously, like I said, we go back and we look at the March contract right there. March is much higher. It's holding on much firmer, as much as it's in the sell for the last 2 days and the last 5 weeks. So then from there, we go over to check out natural gas in the United States. I hope when we go look at that Spanish gas company, I hope it's in the 25s. I'm hoping. But look at this. We have dropped $1.50 over the last 4 days. Just the last 4 days. And you can see here, the weekly, it went into the weekly sell last week. And it's just rolling with the homies. And it's been in a daily sell since up here in the $7.50 area. $7.20 area. So it's fallen from $7.20 down to a low of today of $5.40. Almost a $2 drop, a $1.80 drop. Now let's check it out over here. You'll see the same action. There's the Gazaroo trading in the 540s. And that pressure on the daily. And you can see this is buried down in the 7s. That's what it is. I knew that. I saw something. That was it. That was the one that was in the 5s. Yesterday we saw. I thought that was wild to see it down that low. And here's the weekly. And the weekly is rolling over at the same time. We're generating a red. Joining in with the Chicago Quant. And from there, we go over to what I find to be very fascinating. And that is the oil company or the natural gas company in Spain right there. Trades in euros. I was hoping it would be like 2605, 2595, but it's not really much changed from yesterday. Unfortunately, the natural gas cost is definitely higher, that's for sure. All right, now from the energy sector, and that pretty much completes the energy sector. If anybody wants to see anything in energy, just give us a yell. What we're going to do now is we'll go over and take a look at the stock indices and Bitcoin. I did hear that Bitcoin took it on the chin. I think it did go into the sell yesterday. Let's take a look at it. Right there. Actually, it was a red and green yesterday, and but today it is not. So it is in the sell from yesterday. Right there. after that nice little move on the upside from the 1600 to the 1700. The story with FTX is just getting uglier and uglier and uglier, and there doesn't seem to be any responsibility. Congress, the Democrat Congress right now, has said, "Nah, we don't need even to hear from him right now. We don't. It's not important." So more than likely, the guy's walking around loose. He's doing conferences. He's lost 20 some odd $billion, and he's lost, I don't know, $18 billion in public money. I don't know. It's something like that. The stories are so convoluted at this point, and there's no accountability. They can't find it. And now there's talk that he may have given up to almost $1 billion to the Democrats. I mean, they spent $400 million on this election that's happening today. $400 million, not $40 million. 400. And the Democrat has spent $300 million of it, and the Republicans spent $100 million. So where is that money coming from? That $200 million more. I mean, I can understand matching the Republican, but to have 3 times more money at that level is amazing. And he claimed he was donating money. He was the largest donator to many, many Democrats, and he was the second largest donor to Mr. Biden, our president. So the bigger question is did a lot of that money disappear into politics? And that's why they're not even charging him, and he's not under arrest. He's living in his penthouse in Bermuda or something like that. From there, we jump over to the stock market, which is interesting here. Is at least, what is that? It's flirting with the $1,700 area today when it comes to Bitcoin. The high was $17,015. Just basically $17,000. And it's trading right now at $16,975. So it's only $40 off of its high. Obviously, you can see the weekly still is not cleaning up, but the 5 is taking off. But we need the 3 here, the hard green line and the histogram to join in, and it's not joining in. And until it does, it's more of a dead cat bounce. Meow, meow, dead cat bounce. And then we go over to the stock indices themselves, and there is the S&P 500, which we looked at earlier, which is now down. It was up at 409, 410, and the high day is 14, and now we're just hanging around the 401 area. You see it's trying to curve. It was plus by about a 1.5, 1.6. Now it's minus by 3.6. So the pressure is on there. It's still in that weekly, though. It's not letting go there. Oh, let's just show you the Bitcoin over here on J4X too. And there it is right there. And you can see there that it's a 1698 bid now with a 17,000 offer. So they're trying to pick it up. They're trying to move it back up again. And that's the weekly. You see the weekly is trying to bounce. And the daily is, you can see it's just trying to generate a red now. Right there, just trying to generate a red. So, and you can see the pressure that's been on it with that. Now let's go to the S&P 500, right there. And you see there a day and 2 days now, and breaking down. And we'll see how well they just kind of bounce it and take it back up again like that. And then over here, you can see, like I said, all that strong weakliness, and now the daily is flirting. Was in a buy earlier, now it's flirting with it. It's in the sell again. Let's check it out here on the weekly. And you can see there, it's trying to top out a little bit. 90, what is it, 92, 90, that type of thing. So it's at the high end of its range, that's for sure. Then we go over to the Tech 100. Right there. Right there. There's the Tech 100. This is obviously, the modern index of all the top companies that make our economies move. You see, it didn't get into the sell yesterday. It's still holding up and trying to lift today. The weekly is only going on a 5th week. It's been nowhere near as that 7-week hiatus that's been going on. But let's move that down. So that's 2, that's 4, and it's going on a 5th week. So we're seeing some strength coming into the high interest sensitive stocks. That's what this is really. They're very cash. They get a big cash flow, so they borrow, but their earnings are lower, so they need more cash to compensate for everything. Then from there, we slide over to, let's see what it's doing here. We go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. And you see there, it's in a buy for 3 days also, not letting go. And in a weekly buy for 7 full weeks. So it's been very firm from the 30,000 area, 29,000 area, something like that. It's going to almost 35. So the Dow is going up over 4,000 points in that weekly buy. Let's put it up over here. Oh, we didn't do the... let's just take a quick look at the Tech 100 there on J4X. There it is. You see that. There's the weekly doing the same thing, pushing up, 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 and up, and it's getting up to the high end of its range. And then when we look at the daily, you can see that we got that red thing going on just like we do. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Let's go back over there. So where's that? Right there. It never got into the sell over there. Yeah, it's still in that buy. It's holding on by the hair of its chinny chin chin. Then we go over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average again over here. Right there. And you can see the daily's pressing down for the last couple of days. We're not getting that there. I mean, it's been down, I guess. Let's see, where's it at? Where's my mouse go? There it is. Right there. So you see it's been down, made new lows each time, relative to this thing here. And at the same time, they keep on finding ways to lift it up. So that's what they're doing with the... Now that's the old stocks. They're very solid in the sense of that they don't have as heavy a cash demand as the new modern stocks like Cisco and Google and Tesla and Intel, Microsoft, so forth. They have less of a cash demand than those. So it's kind of more. And some of them are actually in the index. Was it Microsoft, Intel, Cisco? Are in the Dow Jones Industrial 30 now. I'm trying to think who else is in there. Apple's in there. Apple Computer that makes all the phones. And who else is in there? I think it's Amgen and Spotify maybe. I think that's how it goes. I think it has 6 or 7 NASDAQ stocks now in the Dow 30, which is fascinating in its own right. They can't. In other words, they can't find a New York listed stock that competes with Cisco or Microsoft that's better. That's what it says basically, which is very admirable of them doing that. But it is interesting. From there, we slide over to. Let's see. We've done. We'll check out the most speculative of the stock indices, and I know we have it here too in J4X. Let's see if we can find it here first, and that's the Russell 2000. Track X LC. I know we found it before. There it is right there. There's the Russell 2000. And you can see that last couple of days have been in a sell. And the Russell 2000 right there. It's been selling down for the last couple of days here too at the same time. As you see right there. And it's in, what is it, a weekly buy? Yeah, it's a weekly buy. Right there. It's been in a weekly buy. We scroll back. It's been like the Dow. Is it? No, 3? Yeah, 7 weeks in a weekly buy. 7 weeks in a weekly buy. Hasn't really gone too far. Went into the weekly buy up here in the 1800 area. And fell into a sell pretty quickly. And then you can see it has traded as high as 19 and change from it. And then you can see they threw it into a buy. And there, it wasn't the most exciting buy. over a 4-day period, but it made new highs, and then went into a sell there and sloppily along until right here, and a buy for that again. So it's another winner chicken dinner, but not anything beautiful. And then this one is just as bad. It makes new highs from this close, but not, I mean, like paper thin gains. That's what you could call it. Paper thin gains. But it's holding up, and the weekly is holding up. And that's something to think about there. And then we'll take a look at it over here on J4X. And what I mean by think about it means that money is speculative money. It's the heaviest of the speculative indexes. So money is trying to run into it on some level. When we go back, let's do this. You see it's a big W bottom. It's coming down from the 2,500 area. It fell down to almost like 16 and change. Now let's take a look at it on a weekly basis. Right there. And you can see there it's basically bottomed out in here. And I imagine it's like, if this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. So it's trying to tell us that it may be ready to break out on the upside in R.N. Elliott / W.D. Gann theory. They're basically, this could be the 1, this is 2. No, I'm sorry, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. And you would run the line down like that, and then you would run this line like that. So, that's the thing we'll be watching. Maybe they start buying this, then it's going to put energy into the rest of the stock market. All right, traders, we're out of here. We've got to come up with a title for this too today. What did we talk about? Oh yeah, oil tankers stacking up in Turkey. That's pretty much the gist of it all with that $60 oil thing, and that's what we expected. Now we'll see over the next couple of days and weeks if those tankers don't move and they keep on stacking up more and more to the point where they, the oil prices will probably flip on some level, and they'll start to move back up, and we can see it in the contango already. Let's see. So title today is oil. Let's go back. Bing, bing. Title. There we go. Oil tankers. Let's see what we call it. Oil tankers are stacking up. There we are. So this is Doc saying happy trails to you until we meet again tomorrow on Happy to Hump Day. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.